My name is Rob. I am a 36-year-old amateur woodworker. I got into woodworking in the summer of last year. The pandemic had hit and I wanted to be a bit creative and step away from 9 to 5, sitting at my computer all day. So I picked up some tools and I started building some things. I built a little mud kitchen for my son. That was the first thing that I built. And I just fell in love with it. Just the being able to come out into the workshop and build for the day and seeing something at the end that you've just, a physical product that you've created, was just so incredibly rewarding. Totally consumed my life. I just feel like so happy when I'm out here. I feel like I've found my calling, if you will. I guess to start with, like my dad was a carpenter. Before I was born, I think he gave it up. He was always a maker. He was always out making something. And that was like really cool to see as I was growing up, just watching the things that kind of came out of his garage. You know, for me, that wasn't really the reason that I got into it. I took some time off last year to work on my own mental health. And I had some pallets in the back garden that were from a recent turf delivery. And I just thought it would be really cool to recycle them and do something with it. And they were behind the garage that we're in now. I pulled them out and laid them out on the grass. And I just sort of started thinking about how I could bolt it all together. And I had a few tools, you know, some like really old DIY just tools that I had from just putting pictures up around the house. So I had a little bit. I had some drills and a jigsaw, and, you know, some hand saws, some screwdrivers. And I went down to the timber yards locally and I wandered around that timber yard looking at all the different options, feeling really out of my comfort zone. And I remember this guy coming out and saying like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "Yes, I think so. I'm building a mud kitchen. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I need, like, I've got some pallets, I need something for kind of framing." And he took me off and he showed me some different pieces. Really great, actually. Like, I felt really like comfortable with him. And I just bought some timber. I didn't know what I was that I bought. I bought it back and I laid it out next to the pallets, and I just started screwing stuff together. Like, it really was that. I hadn't looked at a plan online. I just kind of went with my intuition and my gut feeling of where things should go, and it just came together like that. It was something that I really enjoyed actually doing it that way, because it just felt like I came to the conclusion naturally. It was like, it was what I wanted. It was all my vision. I wasn't influenced by another maker or of what I thought it should be or what someone else thought it was. It was just what I believed it to be. Some of the big mistakes that I made on that mud kitchen was in joinery. You know, I didn't know anything about wood joins. So on that mud kitchen, there is no joinery. Everything is just screwed together. I had no idea about the differences about drilling pilot holes. That was a big thing for me. I didn't know that you needed to drill pilot holes. So all the screws just went straight into the timber, and I've got a lot of split out on that because of that. You know, and I learned that the hard way. And, you know, I look at it now. I see it. I walk out there and I see some of the splits, and I think I'm so embarrassed by that now because it's just such an obvious thing. That was probably the biggest mistake that I made. The driving force for me of keep coming back to the workshop and trying again is that you get a chance every single day to kind of improve yourself. I learn something new every single day. What I love is not doing the research first and just coming out hands on, have a crack at it and see if you can kind of work it out. If you can't, then I go to YouTube and Instagram and I look at what other people are doing and I feel like, oh yeah, look, there's so many different ways of approaching it. There doesn't ever seem to be a right or a wrong way to do things. As long as you achieve the end goal, it almost doesn't matter how you get there. So there can be like 10 different paths to the same outcome, and that's really cool because each one has its pros and cons, and I just get to learn every day. It's hard sometimes to see a failure, but the learnings you get from it are just awesome. So in 5 years' time, I would love it if I was making this my full-time work, if I could make a living out of being able to create furniture for people. I think like it's just so incredibly rewarding to me to come out here and spend a day like creating something. I get to the end of the day, I feel like I've made a difference. That piece of furniture goes off into someone's home and you hear the feedback about how much they love it and how much it means to them, and, you know, knowing that that's something that they might pass down for generations to generations is just, it's just a phenomenal feeling. So I would love to turn it into my primary source of income.